In July of 1518, the people of Strasbourg, Alsace, now part of France, but at the time a Holy Roman Empire city, faced a horror unlike anything seen before. Not war, not famine, not even plague. It was something that defied explanation, something that horrified onlookers, and some say it may have been a curse from God himself. It all began with one woman, Frau Trophea. On a hot July morning, she stepped into the busy market square and began to dance. There was no music, no festival, no reason for joy. She just moved erratically, stomping, spinning, and swaying as though an invisible force controlled her. At first, townspeople gathered around chuckled at the strange spectacle. But as the hours passed, laughter turned to horror. Frau Trophea danced for 6 days straight without sleep or rest. By the end of the first week, 34 others had joined her. Men and women, young and old, all dancing wildly through the streets. Their feet blistered and bled, yet their bodies wouldn't stop. Some screamed for mercy. Others collapsed only to rise again and continue the dance. Still others stared vacantly ahead, their eyes blank and empty, as if they were no longer in control of their minds. By the end of July, over 400 people were afflicted, and the entire town seemed poised to collapse into chaos. City leaders grew desperate. They called in local physicians, who declared that the plague was not caused by spirits or demons, but by a natural imbalance in the blood. They prescribed the only known cure, dancing. Authorities then cleared out guild halls and large rooms, built wooden stages, and hired musicians to play day and night. But instead of healing the city, this only seemed to make matters worse. More and more people were drawn into the frenzy. Whole families were torn apart, as wives and children were pulled away from their beds at night and forced to join the growing throng. Mothers cradling infants in their arms were unable to stop the music and dance. Fathers trying to shield their daughters from harm found themselves swept up in the madness as well. Houses were abandoned as the plague spread throughout the city. Some collapsed in the streets, others wandered aimlessly, and still others continued to dance until their bodies could dance no more. What caused this bizarre plague? The answer is unknown. Some believed it was divine punishment, a curse from Saint Vitus, the patron saint of dancers. Others whispered of witchcraft or possession by demons. Modern historians suggest several possibilities. One points to ergot poisoning, a toxic fungus that grows on rye bread, a staple of the peasant diet, which can cause hallucinations, spasms, and madness. Another theory points to mass hysteria, brought on by hunger, disease, and the crushing despair of medieval life. Perhaps it was a combination of both. But after 4 months, and with nearly half the town dead, city leaders tried one last desperate measure. They gathered the remaining dancers and led them to the shrine dedicated to Saint Vitus, begging the saint to end the plague. There, priests performed rituals and prayers, and slowly it seemed to work. The plague reached its final victim and came to an end. The streets of Strasbourg fell silent once more. The townspeople slowly emerged from their homes, fearful but relieved. Life in Strasbourg returned to normal. The plague became a thing of the past, or so everyone thought. Every few years, someone would break into a dance, collapsing from exhaustion or even dying mid-dance. But these instances were rare, and the memory of the plague eventually faded from the minds of most. However, it remained an infamous footnote in the city, as history and a chilling reminder of a time when reason and logic seemed utterly powerless against the whims of fate. The dancing plague of 1518 remains one of history's darkest and most mysterious events. Was it madness, poison, or something beyond our understanding? You decide in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to History as Darkest Secrets for more of history's most chilling mysteries.